Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. We're your hosts, Kiera Dent
and Dr. Mark Costas.
Mark and I had this crazy idea that maybe we could combine a dentist and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. And Dental 18 podcast was created.
I'm a practicing dentist, a multiple practice owner, a dental performance coach, and the founder of the Dental Success Institute.
I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, current practice owner, and international dental consultant. Mark and I don't just understand you, we are you.
Our goal is to positively impact the world of dentistry by sharing our lessons learned from the road in hundreds of dental offices.
Two perspectives, one mission, to help dental professionals reach their full potential. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dental 18 podcast. I'm Kiera Dent, flying solo again today. And if you hear a little background noise, I apologize. There's snow and people are blowing snow. So if you hear that today, guess what? This is real life. This is where we are. This is how it's going to roll. So today I wanted to go over KPIs. And the reason I want to go over KPIs is because I had this awesome coaching call with one of my favorite doctors yesterday. And he mentioned we were going through KPI strategy, and I realized, you know what? This is something that I feel could really level up our Dental 18 listeners. Bottom line, I had no idea what KPI stood for. I didn't know what that meant. I heard it was tossed around, and sometimes I think it probably was tossed around even without my recollection or even knowledge, because I didn't even know what KPI stood for. So it's kind of like when you're reading a book and you don't know a word, and you get to the end of the chapter and you're like, how did I get here? I don't even know what I just read. Well, that's what happens. There was a word somewhere that you didn't understand. So your brain got stuck there, kept trying to figure it out, and you missed half the things. Or vice versa, we're kind of watching things and we miss a huge thing. Like I went to dinner last night and I ordered hummus, and there was this other word, and I didn't know what this other word meant. And I just ordered it because I like hummus. Well, I got the hummus and I got these like crazy crackers that were awesome. They were so good. And I'm like, oh, that's what that word was. But I just carried on thinking I'm just getting hummus. And then I get hummus 2.0. That's these really awesome lentil crackers, because I had to Google the word. I didn't know what it meant. So KPI, you're either getting stuck because you don't know what KPI is, so you'll stop listening to this episode, or you've heard KPI, but you're just like, it's, dentistry, and we love dentistry. That's how I was. So KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. That's what a KPI is. But let's break it down even more. The way I explain KPI to a lot of people is it's like the vitals of your body. So when you go to the doctor, the first thing that they do for you, what is the absolute first thing? You walk into the doctor, whether it's your PCP, the ER, you name it, anywhere you go at the doctor's office, they take your vitals. They take your temperature, they take your heart rate, they take your blood pressure. Those are the things that they check for first. They also check your heart rate. Why do they do that? What's their reasoning? Well, they do it because those are like key performance indicators of how well your body's working. They're going to check that first, because if there's something glaring, broken in that spot, that's what they're going to dive into first. It's the vitals of your body. So KPIs, think of KPIs as the vitals of your practice. So they're the things that are going to impact the practice the most. They're the things that we can fix the first that will tell us where the big problems are. So some example KPIs are like production, collection, attrition, how many patients are coming into the practice versus leaving the practice. It'll also be things like case acceptance rate and reappointment rate and new patients and our AR. What does our AR look like in our 30, 60, 90, and over 90? If you're a little gun shy or shy about that and you're like, oh, let's not talk about that, you should talk about it. Let's find a way to get into a routine or a rhythm, because AR doesn't have to be crazy, doesn't have to be scary, and we can fix that. But those KPIs, those are the things you should be tracking regularly, because they make it to where your practice is functioning at the highest level. You can find the problems much faster. It's kind of like having a proactive approach instead of reactive approach, or when you're watching these KPIs and you're really, really, really dialed in and honed in on them. So how do you do this? Well, I personally like weekly KPIs and then monthly KPIs. And then you can get crazy and do yearly. So let me break this down real easy. We have a form that we have everybody fill out. You can have it on Excel. You can have it on just Word. I don't care. But really, we break it down. So on our weekly, we're tracking where we are with our production and collections. Are we on track to hit our goals every single month? And you guys, before I go into this, please note that when I was an office manager and a regional manager, I didn't even track KPIs. I had no clue. I tracked my production, collection, and new patients, but I didn't know that I should be tracking this on a form. I didn't know. Doctors, I was a business owner. I'm owning dental practices, and I didn't even know to do this. So if you haven't been doing it, it's totally fine. Just start now, because when you start tracking these things, you'll see massive progress and success that will come to you. So don't feel bad. We never make you feel bad on the dental A team. We just take you from where you are and put you onto the A team. Let's help you know exactly what to do so you can be part of the A team and be the best version of yourself. So back to this. Every week we have reporting on KPIs. What I do: production, collection, new patients, case acceptance, reappointment rates, attrition. I also look to see how many open holes we had in hygiene and doctor's schedule. I look for how many reviews we're getting. I also look to see how each department's doing, like any trends that are going on across the board. Did I notice anything in billing? Did I notice anything in my patient flow? What trends did I see? And then also I track the AR, 30, 60, 90, over 90, and whether it's patient and insurance. I want to know those two things as well. That's just a real simple overview, real quick. You can add in a ton more, you can take away, but those I think are the vitals of a practice that will really impact a practice. Then I also write my plan of action and the things that went really well. I'm so big on not always looking at how we can improve. And that sounds silly because I am such a driven person that I always want to be a better version of myself. But sometimes I think it's important to see what I'm doing well so I don't stop doing those things. They're just natural for me right now. But as I implement new systems, some of those things that are like my best of the best, I lose because I'm always trying to make a new system to make myself better. So that's why I think it's important weekly to look to see what you are doing well. And then also, I don't go crazy. I used to go crazy, and I used to make a list of like 25 things for myself to accomplish in a week, and I would always set myself up for failure. So then I stopped working on them because I knew it was just too much. So I say 1 to 3 items that you will implement that week to make change. But you don't just haphazardly say what you want to change. It's not what I feel good about, what I want to change. Instead, I'm looking at those KPIs. Where am I the lowest? Where do I need to improve? It's like the vitals. What vital is my most pressing vital? Maybe they're all tracking fine. Great. At that point, look to see how you can grow the practice beyond. Or if we're low on production, is it case acceptance? What's our case acceptance rate? Do we need to have a better education? Do I need to train our team on how to post-set complete appointments because we're missing claims left and right? What's going on? Another KPI that I like weekly are the number of unsent claims. That way they don't get forgotten. And when you have these things, when you have these KPIs that you're looking at every single week, the idea behind it is that you will be having like a constant reminder of what things you should be focused on. So every single week, my team sends me a KPI, and it's fantastic because in the middle of the week, I forget about half these things. And so we have this KPI form weekly that you then are paying attention to the most important things with the greatest impact, and you're not letting them slip. It's not like, oh, shoot, I forgot to check the unsent claims for like the last 2 months. I never did that. Well, guess what? We just put a system into place so you don't forget this. And then you're going to notice things that you're forgetting all the time. You're like, oh, let's add that to the KPI. Like I used to have my KPIs and we weren't tracking my AR in my business. Oh, shoot. Drop the mic, Kiera Dent. Yep. Don't worry, guys. I'm still a real person over here. But we weren't tracking that. And I realized, we should probably start tracking that because I realized I had $65,000 worth of uncollected money. That's a big deal when I'm having cash flow and needing to make sure the business is operating. I was like, what's been going on? Why haven't we noticed this? It wasn't on our KPI. No one was watching it. So you can add things to your KPI, but the end all be all is it might be like, oh, got to track all these things. No, it's making your life so much easier because you no longer have to remember all these things and you're not like, oh man, we forgot to check that. They're already there. You're watching them consistently, making sure your practice is healthy. So I recommend you report that. And if you and your doctor or doctors and office managers or doctors on your own, whomever, or front office, I divide this up so each person kind of reports their area. That way they have their mini KPI that they're responsible for. Kind of just sets a clear expectation for everyone to know what the biggest things are that you'll be watching. So report that every week. If you doctors and office managers want to go over this, I think it's a great check-in. That way it's not just another email in your inbox or another paper on your desk, but it's actually one you review. Make sure the plan in place is what both of you think is a good idea, and you can move forward so you're very proactive instead of reactive. And then you do a KPI at the end of the month where it's a bigger, you dive into these numbers, you dive into the percentages, you dive into what went well and where we're going to go and what the plan is for next month. So it's a more in-depth planning. It's not just you're reading all these and you're not doing anything. It's how do we do this month, week over week over week? And what are we going to move into to make sure that next month is even better or the same, or, we can figure out where we want to invest more time. This is such an easy routine and simple system that you can implement right now. Just make it up. Make it up right now. If you want a sample, send us over an email, info@thedentalateam.com. We're happy to share. We're more than happy to share. So that way you can get a KPI started. But just start. Know that by every Thursday or every Friday, you submit your KPI. That's a routine that you can put into place to make your life easy. Then every month, the last Friday of every month, doctor and office manager go over the KPI. You can also get a little bit more crazy from here. And I have team members report their KPIs. These are their monthly evaluations with you. So the hygiene team, how many SRPs did you have for this month? How many fluorides did you do out of total patients? What was your on time? Or how many patients were you on time for? What about your budget for dental assistants? How is the supply budget? Are we within budget? What is our lab budget? Are we within the 9% of labs? Are we in the 5% for supplies? Are we within those numbers? How many patients did you have to walk out of the room and get another instrument versus having the room all set up for? Have them report on these things. Those are mini KPIs that make a big deal for your back office team. Work on those. And then when you meet with them once a month, you can then review these and then help them see from your perspective and their perspective what goal they can do that's going to be the greatest impact for your practice. KPIs really just help you dive in to having really foundational pieces that you work on, but you don't forget. So it helps everybody be streamlined to the same vision, making sure that everyone's aligned. KPIs, I used to hate that word because I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know. I glossed over it. I didn't think it was important. KPIs are the vital of your practice. And I recommend there's a daily KPI where you, as a team on a whiteboard, you track your production, collections, new patients, case acceptance, reappointment, and reviews. And you erase it and color it in so it's a very interactive. That way everyone's focused on exactly what we all should be focused on. Those are the biggest vitals of the practice. Then once a week, you send an even more in-depth form. And then on the month, you send in another one and you review so you can proactively plan for the next month. Once you've been doing this for a year, you can go back and on your month KPI reviews, you can actually track back to a year and see, hey, what were we doing that year? What were we doing in January of 2017 and 16? Are we growing or are we dying? What's going on with our KPIs and our practice? And so that's how you start to then really analyze. And I used to not be crazy about numbers. I thought, well, whatever, it's fine. We're doing great. Just keep moving along. But no, this is how you can work smarter, not harder. You can see, well, what were we doing in January 2017 that we aren't doing now? Why were our numbers so much higher then? What was the difference? Well, we had a different hygienist. That hygienist produced 3.7 times their pay. Well, now our hygienist is producing 2.6 times their pay. Like, what was going on with our last hygienist that our current hygienist isn't doing that we can help grow them into that position? That's how you start to see trends. That's how you start to find those small little areas. I believe that it's a very simple way to grow your practice, to make it easier for teams. A lot of times you'll hear me on here of talking numbers and production and different things. Those are simple measuring sticks. And I want you to get that drilled in that that's all it is. It's a measuring stick. Numbers are universal. So it's an easy measuring stick, but it doesn't mean anything other than the fact of how many patients you are able to help, how much care you can give back. These KPIs, they're tracking to see how good you guys are at helping patients understand their treatment. If we have great case acceptance, we're helping our patients know what needs to be done, and they're saying yes easily. They're saying yes because they know what's going on. Our reappointment, our hygienists are doing a fantastic job of educating on how much our dental cleanings are, how important those are for a patient. That's what it's tracking. That's all it is. It's a measuring stick to know how well you're serving the population, how well you're serving your population base. How many new patients are coming in? Well, are we giving them something to rave about? Are we going above and beyond for our patients? If so, our new patient numbers should be high. They should be great. That's what it is. It's a measuring stick to see how well we're doing that's universal across the board. It eliminates the biases, the emotional connections, and just lets us see. And if you're willing to view yourself objectively and see how many patients you're able to help with these KPIs and how you can help even more, that's what they're for. So go try it out. KPIs are a ton of fun. I say KPIs are kind of like my love language now. I get so excited when I get these. And I'm sure my team at the beginning was like, oh, KPIs. But now it's really fun to see month over month over month how we're doing, how we're tracking. And I recommend you track these in an Excel spreadsheet. Go January through December. Track all these like 5 to 10 KPIs so you can watch over time how they're either increasing or decreasing, because when you visually see it, you start to see trends and patterns and you will naturally enhance your practice. So go out there. That's how you become part of the Dental A team and level up with KPIs today. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.